All right, let's dive into the world of sous vide cooking today. We're going to help you navigate the world of sous vide cookers. You know, there are so many out there. We know you're thinking about getting one.
And the good news is there's a perfect cooker out there for everyone, whether you're a seasoned chef or just starting out with sous vide.
Exactly. And to help us, we're looking at Nifty Nexus's the 10 best sous vide cookers we tested in 2024.
Absolutely. Sous vide is all about that precise temperature control. It really elevates your cooking. No more guessing. No more worrying about overcooked or undercooked food.
Okay, let's jump in. If you're thinking about getting a new sous vide cooker, you'll want to pay attention to the wattage. That's the heating power. And speaking of power, the Breville Polyscience Hydro Pro. This thing has a 1450 watt motor and a sleek stainless steel design. Nifty Nexus chose this as the top pick for professionals. I can see why.
Yeah, this one's a beast. That powerful motor means it heats water quickly and maintains a really solid temperature. Even if you're cooking for a large gathering, it's also super durable, so it's built to last.
Now, I know sometimes those professional-grade appliances can be intimidating, but the review highlights how user-friendly the Hydro Pro is, even for beginners.
Yeah, the interface is really intuitive and straightforward. And for all that power, it has a surprisingly compact design, which is great if you have limited counter space. Plus, it comes with a built-in sous vide guide, the toolbox, packed with algorithms for perfect results.
That toolbox sounds amazing. I was curious about something. The review mentioned it needs an internet connection.
That's right. It needs Wi-Fi to access those algorithms. So if you love to cook off grid or have spotty internet, that could be a drawback.
Good point. Definitely something to keep in mind. And speaking of potential drawbacks, the review mentioned the adjustable clamp. It can be a bit cumbersome.
Yeah, it seems to be a common issue with some sous vide clamps. But on the plus side, it can handle vessels up to 20 liters, so that's great for larger batches. Overall, the Hydro Pro is a top choice if you prioritize speed, accuracy, and durability.
All right, so now let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum. What if you're someone who loves to cook for big gatherings? Or maybe you're into meal prepping for the week. The Meat Sous Vide Cooker. Might be calling your name. It boasts this massive 10-gallon capacity. You can practically cook a whole turkey in there.
You're not exaggerating. With that capacity, it's a dream for big batch cooking and meal prepping. Plus, it's got a powerful 1200-watt heating element to ensure even cooking throughout all that water. Think of it as your personal catering-size sous vide setup right on your countertop.
That's a great way to put it. And the review raves about the LCD touch control panel. Super user-friendly. But they did point out a couple downsides, like the lack of a built-in timer.
Yeah.
And a short power cord.
Yeah, those are things to consider. However, one of the coolest features is its flexibility. Unlike many others that need specific containers, the Meat Cooker can work with any container. Got a stock pot, a cooler, no problem. This bad boy can handle it.
That's amazing. It's like the ultimate DIY sous vide experience. All right, so we've got professional-grade power with the Breville, and bulk cooking champion with the Meat. Now let's move on to a popular choice that might be more familiar to our tech-savvy listeners, the Culinary Sous Vide Precision Cooker Pro. It's known for its sleek design and, of course, its connectivity.
Exactly. The Innova Precision Cooker Pro packs 1,200 watts of power, and it comes with Bluetooth, allowing you to monitor and control your cooking from your phone. Imagine starting your dinner while you're at the gym.
Now that's convenience. The review also praises its accuracy and large water capacity, so it's suitable for a wide range of dishes.
It does have a couple of drawbacks, though. It's a bit bulky and heavier compared to some of the others, so storage might be a consideration.
Good point. So if you're working with limited counter or storage space, that's something to keep in mind.
But for those who value connectivity and consistent results, the Innova Precision Cooker Pro is hard to beat.
All right, now let's talk about a cooker that Nifty Nexus declared the best overall pick for most people. The Breville Joule Turbo Sous Vide machine seems to strike a balance between power, features, and size.
Absolutely. The Joule Turbo is compact, yet powerful. And like the Innova, it boasts Wi-Fi connectivity and smartphone app control, which is fantastic for busy cooks who want to keep an eye on their cooking from anywhere.
I love that. You could be out running errands and still make sure dinner is cooking perfectly. What did the review highlight about the app itself?
The app is incredibly user-friendly, even if you've never used a sous vide machine before. And it includes a fantastic recipe library with step-by-step instructions and tips. You'll never run out of inspiration.
That's awesome. Sounds like it takes the guesswork out of sous vide. But did the review mention any downsides? Every product has at least one, right?
You're right. There are a couple of things. First, it lacks physical controls on the device. Everything is controlled through the app. So if your phone battery dies or you lose Wi-Fi, you might be out of luck. Also, some users have reported a buzzing noise during operation, which might be annoying.
Yeah, those are things to factor in. But it sounds like the Joule Turbo really hits that sweet spot for a lot of people. Powerful, convenient, and compact. Now, for those of you out there cooking for a big family, let's move on to a cooker with a bit more room. The Dash Chef Series Stainless Steel Sous Vide. It has an 8.5 quart capacity, so you can definitely feed a crowd.
Absolutely. And here's a bonus. It comes with vacuum bags and a pump, so you're ready to cook right out of the box.
That's a great value. No need to hunt for extra accessories. The review also mentioned this magnetic water pump system. I'm not quite sure how that works.
It's a really clever design. The pump creates a more consistent flow of water throughout the bath, which makes sure that all your food is cooked evenly, even in a large batch.
Oh, that makes sense. So it's an extra level of precision to guarantee those perfect results. Were there any downsides in the review?
Just like a couple of others, it's a bit bulky, so finding space to store it might be a challenge.
So maybe not the best choice if storage space is at a premium. Okay, let's keep moving. We've got a few more cookers to explore on our sous vide journey. The Inkbird Wifey Sous Vide cooker. This one seems to be a jack of all trades with a ton of features.
It does. It's got a 700-watt heating element, an 8-quart capacity, and 3D water circulation, similar to that magnetic pump system, to ensure even cooking.
And I saw that it comes with a rack divider. Now, that's a feature I haven't seen on the others. What does that allow you to do?
That's a fantastic feature if you like to multitask. You can cook multiple dishes at the same time, each at their own precise temperature. Imagine perfectly cooked steak alongside some asparagus, all in the same water bath.
Sous vide efficiency. I also noticed it comes with 14 preset recipes, perfect for someone starting out.
Right, absolutely. Those preset recipes take the guesswork out, especially for dishes like steak, chicken, and fish. And of course, like the name suggests, the Inkbird has Wi-Fi control and a timer. So you can monitor your cooking from anywhere using the app.
Wow, it really checks all the boxes. Did the review mention any drawbacks?
Just a couple of minor things. Some users reported the font on the display is small, which might be hard to read. And there have been reports of bugs with the app, though hopefully those can be fixed.
So maybe not the most polished user experience, but still a really versatile option.
Yeah.
Now get ready for this one. We're about to enter the world of multifunction appliances. With the Ninja Foodi Possible Cooker PLUS, this is so much more than a sous vide cooker.
Oh, absolutely. This is where things get interesting. The Possible Cooker PLUS can slow cook, proof dough, and sear food, all in the same pot. It's like a culinary playground on your counter.
Wow, that's incredible. So you could literally create a whole meal, start to finish, using just one appliance.
Exactly. It also boasts an 8.5 quart capacity, so you can cook for a crowd. And one of the coolest features, I think you'll appreciate this, is the integrated spoon. Built right into the handle. No more searching for a spoon while you're cooking.
That's such a clever design. I'm all about little details. And I saw that it has a glass lid, which is great for visibility. But I'm wondering, did the review mention anything about using that lid for searing?
That's a great question. And it is one of the downsides they pointed out. The glass lid, while great for monitoring your food, isn't ideal for searing. It could shatter under high heat. So you might need a different lid or pan.
Ah, makes sense. What about the overall size and weight?
Definitely bulky and heavy. So again, storage space might be something to consider, but if you're looking for one appliance that can do it all, the Possible Cooker PLUS is a fantastic option.
All right, let's move on to a cooker that caught my eye. Because of its sleek design and powerful motor, the Anchor Chef Sous Vide 1400W Precision Cooker. It's got a large touchscreen interface, which seems very user-friendly.
It is. The touchscreen makes it easy to set the precise temperature and time. And with that 1400-watt motor, it heats water quickly and keeps the temperature stable throughout the cooking.
The review was impressed with its speed and accuracy, but they did mention a couple potential downsides. What were those?
Well, first, the clip for attaching it to the pot is kind of small, so it might not fit on all pots, especially those with thicker rims. And second, some users said the motor can be loud.
So maybe not the best choice for sensitive ears.
Yeah.
Or a small space where noise would be an issue. Okay, we're down to our final two cookers, and this one is a bit different. The Sous Vide Supreme Touch 9L, it's a water oven style sous vide. Can you explain what that means? How's it different?
Sure. All the other cookers are immersion circulators. They clip onto the side of a pot, but the Sous Vide Supreme Touch is a self-contained unit. It's like a water bath that heats and circulates the water within its own chamber.
Ah, so it's like having a dedicated sous vide Izon. And the review highlighted the even heating and safety benefits, especially for long cooks. What makes it safer?
Well, the water is inside an insulated chamber, so there's less risk of spills or burns. Plus, the water doesn't evaporate as fast, which is important for long cooks. You know, and you got to maintain the water level.
Those are great points. And they also love the touchscreen controls and the quiet operation. Seems like a really premium option for those serious about their sous vide.
It definitely is, and it comes with a premium price. But for those who value precise control, safety, and quiet cooking, the Sous Vide Supreme Touch could be a great investment. However, there are a couple things. Water ovens are generally larger compared to immersion circulators, so you'll need to make sure you have space.
That makes sense. It's an appliance, whereas the others are more like attachments.
Exactly. And another thing is the temperature range. Water ovens have a more limited temperature range, so if you need to cook at really precise temperatures, you want to check the specs.
Really helpful insights. All right, we've reached the last contender in our sous vide lineup, the Crock-Pot stainless steel slow cooker with Sous Vide. And as the name suggests, this one does double duty. It's both a slow cooker and a sous vide, which is awesome.
Absolutely. It's fantastic for those who love the convenience of slow cooking, but also want to explore sous vide. It's got a large 7-quart capacity.
And the review mentioned programmable settings, which is always nice.
Yeah, you can set the time and temperature for your cooks, and it'll switch to keep warm when it's done. And it has a lid lock for transportation, which is great if you're taking it to a potluck or party.
Those are some great features. Did the review highlight any other unique features?
One thing they pointed out is the removable crock. You can actually take it out and use it on the stovetop. Imagine searing your meat and then transferring it directly to the slow cooker for sous vide.
That's brilliant. Streamlines the whole process, but I'm guessing, given its multifunctionality, it might be a bit heavy.
You guessed right. It is quite heavy, which could be a downside.
So maybe not the most portable, but still an incredible choice for anyone who wants the best of both worlds. Slow cooking and sous vide. Wow, I feel like we just ran a marathon of sous vide cookers. It's amazing to see how many options are out there.
It really is, and I think we've given you a great overview. But before we wrap up, I think it's important to take a step back. We talked about all these cookers and their features, but what matters is how they fit into your lifestyle and your cooking goals.
That's such a good point. It's easy to get caught up in the bells and whistles,
Yeah.
but ultimately the best sous vide cooker is the one that helps you in the kitchen.
Exactly. So as we move into the next part of our deep dive, let's shift our focus from the machines to the bigger picture. Your cooking style, your needs, and your sous vide aspirations. Welcome back. I'm excited to continue our sous vide journey, help you figure out which one of these cookers might be your perfect fit.
Going through those cookers, I'm struck by how innovative they are. It's not just about heating water anymore. So many features.
You're right. There's a cooker out there for every personality and cooking style. It's all about finding the one that works for you.
Okay, let's talk about some key factors we've uncovered. Wattage, the heating power, seems like a big deal. We saw a range from 700 watts to 1450 with that Breville Hydro Pro. Why is wattage so important, especially for someone new to sous vide?
Great question. Wattage impacts how quickly the water heats up and how well it stays at a stable temperature. Think of it this way. Higher wattage is like having a strong engine. Gets you up to speed fast and keeps the speed steady, even uphill. In sous vide, that uphill battle is holding a consistent temperature, especially with larger quantities of food, or if you're using a bigger pot of water.
That's a great analogy. So for someone cooking for a lot of people or who meal preps, choosing a higher wattage cooker like the Hydro Pro or the meat cooker with its 1200 watts would be the way to go.
Exactly. A higher wattage ensures that the water heats back up quickly after you add food, and it stays consistent throughout for even cooking.
Now let's talk features. Some of these cookers are like mini computers. Wi-Fi, smartphone control, built-in recipe guides. It's wild.
It's amazing how technology has changed cooking, but it's important to know how these features fit with your cooking style. Are you a tech-savvy cook who likes controlling things from your phone, or are you more hands-on?
For me, app connectivity would be a game changer. I like the idea of monitoring things remotely, especially if I have guests or if I'm doing other things around the house. The Innova Precision Cooker Pro and the Breville Joule Turbo really stood out to me. With their sleek design and app integration, would you say those are good for someone who likes convenience and remote monitoring?
Absolutely. The Innova and the Joule both have excellent apps. Easy to use, you can set the temperature, start, stop, even monitor the progress all from your phone. The Joule app has a really great recipe library too, specifically for sous vide. And they even have video tutorials, which is great for visual learners.
Oh, that's awesome. They really went the extra mile. It's like having a sous vide expert right there. Now, something I thought was unique was the Inkbird's rack divider. Being able to cook multiple things at once, each at their own temperature, is amazing. Can you paint us a picture of how our listener might actually use this in everyday cooking?
Absolutely. Imagine this. You're having a dinner party, and you want to impress your guests with a perfect steak and tender asparagus. With the Inkbird, you can cook both dishes at the same time in the same bath, each at the perfect temperature. Steak, medium rare, and the asparagus stays nice and green with a good texture. It's all about efficiency.
That's incredible. It saves so much time. Compared to cooking them separately, a dinner party game changer. And speaking of doing it all, let's talk about the Ninja Foodi Possible Cooker PLUS. This thing can slow cook, sear, proof, and sous vide. A Swiss Army knife of kitchen appliances.
It's true. The Possible Cooker PLUS is a dream for people who like to experiment in the kitchen. Or for those who are limited on space, you can really make an entire meal with this one appliance. And the 8.5 quart capacity is big enough for families or for small gatherings. Imagine searing your steak in the same pot, then adding veggies and switching to slow cooker mode for a stew. Endless possibilities.
It sounds almost too good to be true. But, like all multifunction appliances, there are compromises, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. It's really versatile, but it might not be the best at any one specific function. For example, dedicated sous vide cookers like the Breville or Innova might be slightly better with temperature control, and a slow cooker might have a stronger design for long cooking.
Makes sense. It's always about balance between how much you can do and your priorities. Now, I'm curious about the Sous Vide Supreme Touch 9L, that water oven style. How does the cooking experience compare to the immersion circulators?
Great question. One of the biggest things is the noise. Water ovens tend to be much quieter, which can be important if your kitchen's open or if you're sensitive to sounds. They're also more energy efficient. Because the water's in an insulated chamber, you lose less heat. But like we mentioned, they do take up more counter space, and the temperature range might be smaller compared to some immersion circulators.
So it's all about weighing the pros and cons and deciding what's most important. Now, before we help you narrow down your choices, I want to touch on budget. We saw prices from under $100 to over $300. Does price reflect performance?
That's a great point. Price can be an indicator, but it's not always everything. Some of the more affordable cookers, like the Inkbird, offer a lot of features and good results. And remember, you can always find deals, especially if you're patient.
That's great advice. Always worth doing your research. So now we know about wattage, features, size, capacity, and budget. I feel ready, but I have a feeling things are about to get even more interesting, right?
You're right. We've covered the technical stuff, but now it's time to think about what you'll actually be cooking. It's not just about the machine, it's about the food.
All right, we're back. Ready to wrap up our sous vide adventure. I'm feeling inspired and a little hungry, gotta say, after talking about all those amazing cookers.
Me too. It really is exciting to think about all the things you can cook with sous vide.
Exactly. We've covered the technical side, wattage, features, size, all that. Now it's time to get creative. What are some dishes that really shine with sous vide?
Well, sous vide is great for cooking proteins perfectly. Imagine a juicy, tender steak cooked exactly the way you like it, every time.
Oh man, that sounds amazing. I've always been intimidated by cooking steak, especially getting a nice sear. You're saying sous vide takes the guesswork out.
Totally. With sous vide, you cook the steak to the exact temperature, so it's cooked perfectly all the way through. And then you just sear it in a hot pan or on the grill to get that crispy outside.
No more overcooked steaks.
And it's not just steak. Sous vide is great for chicken, fish, pork, you name it. It's gentle, precise cooking, so everything comes out tender and delicious.
Now, we talked about desserts a little earlier, and I have to admit, I'm curious, what kind of desserts can you make with sous vide?
The possibilities are pretty much endless. Sous vide is perfect for delicate things like cheesecake, custards, puddings, even creme brulee. The water bath makes sure everything cooks evenly, so you get smooth textures and amazing flavors.
Wow. Creme brulee with sous vide. That's amazing. So it's not just about proteins. It's about trying new techniques and flavors.
Exactly. Sous vide lets you think outside the box and really get creative.
Okay, let's say your listener is ready to get started with sous vide. What advice would you give them as they're choosing a cooker?
I would say think about what you like to cook. What kind of meals you want to make? Do you like to cook for a lot of people? Then a cooker with more power and a larger capacity, like that Eat cooker or the Dash Chef series, might be best.
What if they're a little intimidated by sous vide and just want something easy to use?
Then I would say go with a cooker with a good app and a recipe library, like the Breville Joule or the Innover Pro. Those apps will guide you and make it easy to check on your food, even if you're new to this.
And what about the multifunction appliances? Are those good for beginners?
It depends on what you need. If you want one appliance that can do it all, slow cook, sear, sous vide, then maybe something like the Ninja Foodie is for you. But remember, it might not be as good as a dedicated sous vide cooker at certain things, like controlling the exact temperature.
That makes sense. It's about finding what works best for you. Now, a question that's been on my mind. We've talked about all these great things about sous vide, but are there any downsides? Anything people should know?
That's a good question. One thing is that it can take longer. Sous vide cooks at a lower temperature, so it's not always a quick dinner solution.
So maybe not for a busy weeknight.
Not always. But you can prep things ahead of time or choose recipes with shorter cook times.
That's helpful. Any other downsides?
Well, the equipment. The cookers themselves are good, price-wise, but you might need to buy some extra things, like special bags or containers, especially for larger pieces of food.
Good point. Definitely things to think about when you're figuring out your budget.
But honestly, those are the only major downsides. Sous vide is so precise, and everything comes out so tender and flavorful. It's worth it.
I agree. So wrapping up our sous vide deep dive, what's the key takeaway? What do you want our listeners to remember?
I would say sous vide is for everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a beginner or an experienced chef. There's a cooker for every budget and every style of cooking. Don't be scared to try it. Get creative in your kitchen and have fun.
Love that advice. I'm feeling inspired. Thanks for taking us on this culinary journey.
It was my pleasure. Happy cooking, everyone.